Hello! Big news from our friends over at Distrokid. They now have an app. This app works on iOS and Android, of course, and it's available in the Apple Store and Google Play stores and all the stores where you buy apps. Go check it out. It's got a lot of cool features. You can upload new releases, you can get notified when you've earned royalties. Awesome. You can withdraw from the app via push notifications. A little dangerous for me, but rad. Anyways, go check it out. It's all at distrokid.com/app. And don't forget, you can still get 30% off your Distrokid account by going to distrokid.com/VIP/tour stories. Have a great one. We would like to celebrate our friends and supporters over at Izotope.com. Fine makers of audio software for repair, mixing, and mastering. You know their goods: RX10, Neutron 4, Ozone 11, Nectar 4. Chris and I love them, we use them, and we know you'll love them too. And right now they're having a New Year's sale on many of their software bundles. Go to izotope.com and check it all out. And use code RUIN10 when you check out to get your discount. Again, it's izotope.com. And enjoy. Hello, Tour Story listeners. Thank you for your continued support, and welcome to Season 4. I'd like to take a second to thank our friends and sponsors over at Izotope. Here at Ruinous, Chris and I rely heavily on easy-to-use tools like RX and Ozone for all of our audio repair, mixing, and mastering. Now, Tour Story listeners can get 10% off Izotope plugins or try Music Production Suite Pro for free for 30 days using code FRET10. That's FRET10. To get your discount and check out all of their easy-to-use products, go to izotope.com/ruinous. That's izotope.com/ruinous and use code FRET10. And thank you for listening. Hey, Zach.
Hey, Joe. What's going on, man? Thank you for having me.
Yeah, man. Thanks for coming on. This is, it's going to be fun. Where are you?
I'm in Austin, Texas. And for the listeners, I just went through an old man meltdown of trying to find outdated technical stuff at my house to try to make this work. So I'm glad I'm actually able to talk to you right now.
Yeah. Oh, it always works out.
Fuck, not with me. You never know. You never know.
My last interview, my service that I use, Squadcast, wasn't working for the hour. Oh. And I was waiting for Johnny Marr.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Well, I am not Johnny Marr, so I would have been shitting bricks, I think was the actual scientific term.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you're down there in Austin. How's the vaccination vibe feeling there?
Fucking nightmare. No, it's in Austin. It's fine. You know, chances are everyone is triple vaxxed. You know,
right.
But if you go 10 to 20 minutes outside of Austin in any direction, you're in real fucking Texas. And I'm from here. I'm from Texas.
Oh, you are?
Yeah. I was born and raised in a town called Sherman, which is about an hour north of Dallas, and it's like a trailer park town. You know, it's real fucking Texas. And so you do feel the pressure, man. It's like, you know, if you go to any of the neighboring cities just on the weekend just to hang out and stuff, you stick out, you know, if you're wearing a mask indoors. It's real shit. So it's no joke down here. And fortunately, and unfortunately, I guess I could live in this little bubble, you know, where our community is for the most part pretty vaxxed, which is nice.
Right. So is it feeling more open or does it feel too open?
That's a great question. I feel like Austin is just right. I feel like a lot of restaurants have made accommodations to have outdoor seating and things like that. My wife and I still don't go indoors to eat, you know, but so it feels proper. Although they can enforce a mask mandate at businesses in Austin in Texas, because of our fucking, I don't want to make this political, but our shitty person in charge, Greg Abbott, who's just a monster and trying to kill everybody. So, like, let's say my favorite coffee shop at the end of my street, they're all great. let's just say we share the same beliefs.
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and they can't, you know, there'll be people in line waiting, and I'm, you know, maybe 3 people with masks, and then there's, you know, there's nothing they can say to them. They can just put a thing on the door like, we would like you to wear masks, you know, and then what the fuck can they do after that? But we have a little getaway place in New Braunfels, which is about 45 minutes south of here, and it's real Texas, and you forget. And I was there just a few weeks ago, and there was a fucking Trump rally in the middle of town.
Holy fuck.
I mean, seriously, like you would have thought it was, you know, 2020, holding the signs and just the whole shit. It was crazy, you know.
It is not over.
It's not
this
over.
shit is not over.
It's not over. Thankfully, and you know, our industry, you and I, has all but repaired, and they seem to be taking precautions. I know there's a lot of places where there's vax cards, there's mask mandates, there's negative tests. I know a lot of the festivals that we've been doing, and I imagine yours as well. That's feeling good because nobody wants to. I was listening to your one with I believe it was with Sean Reese, and you know, I don't think there is going to be the genie's out of the bottle. They can't. I don't think there's going to be another shutdown, even with this new variant or whatever it might be. And I think to show everyone that they are taking it real seriously, the powers that be in our industry are taking it seriously. You know, so that's at least that's a good thing to see.
Yeah, and Rise Against did do some touring, right?
We did a long one. We went out toward the end of July until September's with. We had the Descendants with us, which was just a dream come true, and it was amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, it was crazy.
Descendants every night?
Every night.
Oh,
it was your favorite band just playing. And their drummer, Bill, is our producer. He produces our records. He always has. Right. And I have a long story, like history with him. I was in a band called Hackfish that recorded with them in 95. And, you know, it's just, it's always been. But anyway, that was at, like, Delta was just getting talked about as that tour started, and then it just started taking over as the tour was going on. So we were out during it, and we landed the plane, you know. We stayed safe. We were kind of boring, married, middle-aged men, so we would just go to our bunks and watch Netflix at the end of the night, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But meanwhile, you know, you were seeing stuff in the news that there was a lot of people going home from tours, you know.
Yeah, and how did it feel different? You know, I toured also, and you know, for us, it was the things that you don't think about where, you know, if you want to leave the venue and go have dinner, like it's just kind of these knee-jerk reactions, like after sound check, it's like, let's go eat early dinner. It's like, oh yeah, we can't. Let's go on the bus. Let's sit in the venue. And that's the thing that felt overall different. You know, it was these things you never think about.
Right.
1 week into it, you're like, oh, yeah, I'm on tour. And then you forget that the world is a little bit different this time around. How was it? Did you have any of those kind of realizations or feelings?
I did, and I didn't. You know, there was also that thing, too, of like, I remember thinking like, oh, shit, it's just business as usual. You know, I mean, we went out and sold out crowd, no distancing. You'd see some masks, but there was, you know, fortunately a lot of the shows were outside. They were like sheds or whatever. So not a lot of masks, you know, and there was that too. So then you kind of get the feeling that like, oh, everything's normal and everything's fine. And it's like, well, no, it's not. But I will say that, you know, that was the longest period of time I was home for my entire adult life, you know? So I quit high school to do this shit. And so, and I think you as well, it's like there was a certain part of me that was just not there, you know? And I was having the weirdest COVID dreams of like the detailed minutia of touring, not even playing shows, but just like trying to find a place to eat in Adelaide, Australia or whatever. You know what I mean? You're like walking down the streets and reading these weird signs and shit and trying to get to know the lay of the land. Or a lobby call, you know, you're talking to your road manager and it's like, you know, whatever. It just, he's handing you the key to your room. That, I was having real vivid dreams about shit like that. So being able to go back out and do it was just, it also gives me like, cause for alarm a bit because I realized that I'm not really a complete adult without it. Like, who the fuck am I? What do I do? It's like, you're no one. You don't do anything except that. And so being able to go back and do it was so affirming. And you know, it's like everybody has their thing. And you don't think of something like that taking you and I's thing completely away. Because if you're a gym rat, you still got to work out. Or if you're a runner or a hiker or a chef, whatever, like some restaurants closed, but people could still cook. You and I could not fucking do really any aspect of what we love to do except play by ourselves.
Right. And that is not playing music to me. Yeah.
That doesn't scratch the surface, It's such a communal thing. It's how I communicate with like my best friends or the people like, we get in a room together and we play dumb riffs. Like, dude, I got this thing. Check it out. That's everything that's been happening since we were children. So not being able to do that was fucking crazy. And then our singer and I just did a duo run of shows in England. We just did it was like 3 shows in a row. They were like promo. Basically, they were over glorified in stores because they were actually at venues, and just being able to be in another country, you know what I mean? So I will say I was overwhelmed and overjoyed to be able to go back at it. But you're right. It's like you kind of let your eye off the ball. At least I did a bit, because it's like, it's all back, and then you read that like whoever had to go home because one of their guys tested positive was like, oh shit. All right.
Yeah, we had a couple hiccups and had to go home for a week. Times. Our tour was roughly 8 weeks, and with our band and crew and their band and crew, there was about 80 people, and someone tested positive, and we went home. I'm
the world's most positive person, and I was like everybody's sort of COVID whisperer the whole time, like, it's going to be fine. There's been pandemics before. There just hasn't been in our lifetime. We'll get through it, and all that stuff. But there's times you're just, even that, you're just like, oh shit, I hope this fucking works out,
Some musicians, band people I've talked to over this involuntary break had some sort of solace, like a break, have a little space to view their world and their lives.
Yeah.
And the other half of people I talked to were like, I was a fucking nervous wreck the whole time. I'm on that side of things.
Yeah.
Maybe not a nervous wreck, but, anxious. And how did you deal with it over the 2 years?
I mean, I miraculously kept a pretty level head about it. I had friends that thought this was how life was going to be for forever.
Mm-hmm.
People that suffer anxiety, and people who the sky is falling always anyway. So when the sky actually kind of is falling, it's you see, I told you, this was gonna happen. I have a lot of people in my life that were dealing with it that way. So I found I had to, and again, I'm sort of a cheerleader by nature and a positive person. So I found myself doing that in overtime. It was exhausting, to be honest with you. But I somehow kept it like, yes, we haven't dealt with this in our lifetime, but other people have. Your grandparents dealt with this, in 1918 or whatever, and we'll get through it. And I somehow was able to keep that through line. I never gave up, I guess is what I'm saying.
Yeah.
And even though it was much worse, I did remember being on tour and being in a band during 9/11 and how much the needle skipped, as a culture across the world just from that one event. And of course, it repaired a lot quicker, but I was pulled off the road. I'm sure you were too. Clubs weren't, and then how much the repercussions of that, we still take off our shoes at the airport and, have to go through metal detectors and stuff. So I knew this was not to be taken lightly. I wasn't sort of flippantly blowing it off. But I did realize, I think that, I was doing research on the Spanish flu, okay, it took about,
right?
Yeah. It was like, it took about 2.5 years, and then we have modern technology. Hopefully it won't take that long. And it ended up being about 1.5 years, But, even back then, there was mask mandates, there was protests, there was, the whole shit. There was vaccine mandates, what they had one. It's the exact same thing. It's crazy.
Yeah. And Boardwalk Empire was, I think that was right after the pandemic.
I think it was.
Yeah.
I think it was. And they might have referred to it a few times on there.
They did. It's subtle. Yeah. Well, do you have any touring planned in 22?
Yes, quite a bit actually. Kind of like the whole year, which I'm sure you probably do as well. We put out a record during it, so this is the catch up. And normally, since we're in the middle of a tour cycle, we would be out right now. But the way things, It did kind of bottleneck too, you know? I mean,
I agree. Yeah.
yeah, every band in the fucking world has been waiting to tour for 2 years. So it's like everyone's out. So it was really hard to kind of consecutively book things like we normally do. But all of that, it doesn't mean that that went away. It just means like it's getting pushed, you know, so it's all happening next year. So next year is kind of like from sort of April on, it's pretty gone. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. What about you?
Yeah. Well, I forget, but we have a few shows in the spring, and then it's starting up late summer, it sounds like. Master Tour will tell me everything.
Man, whoever invented Master Tour should be awarded the Nobel Peace Prize. I mean, for those of you that are listening, a Master Tour is an app provided for musicians and crew members and people that are involved with the touring life, that basically all the information is in there. And it updates, and it's current. It just makes your touring life so much easier. And it's I mean, it's from the gods, whoever the gods may be.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, until we can use Master Tour again, I want to play the people a tune.
Please.
I want to play Fortunate Son. How do you feel about that?
I think that's a fucking great choice. You know, we got a tweet from John Fogerty himself.
You did?
Yeah, and he retweeted, like, we did a video of it and like a live thing, and he retweeted, it's like, sounds great, with a bunch of thumbs up and a fire emoji and stuff, which I think it's great that we got a man in his, you know, pushing 80 to do a fire emoji.
Man,
so I think that's
incredible.
Yeah, no, it was pretty amazing.
Yeah, let's hear it. Man, that's great.
Thank you.
I love that tune.
Thank you. We used to do it, it's odd, we used to do it like, the verses would be way more sort of like fast, you know, like mid-tempo, fast punk, kind of hardcore-ish. And then we did like a breakdown at the end, like a halftime, you know, like punch the floor, hardcore breakdown.
Oh, man.
Yeah. You know, whatever.
That's great.
And then we just started kind of playing it straight up like that. But it's always fun. We do the old Rise Against. We'll pull out a bunch of different covers. I think we could do the entire Minor Threat songbook, Bad Religion. You know, just whatever.
All right.
You know, whatever old punk band. You know, because we're old punk guys ourselves. So.
Yeah. I have a little anecdote about punk bands covering that song, which is I thought that was a Circle Jerk song when I listened to it over and over again when I was 11.
No shit.
Because they cover it on Golden Shower of Hits.
They sure do. And I think mission accomplished by the Circle Jerks, you know.
I fucking loved it, and I just didn't know. I didn't put it together.
If you can successfully co-opt another band's very good song, then I think you did your part.
Yeah.
And speaking of that, well, older bands, and this could be its own podcast, and I don't want to diverge too much, but have you watched the Let It Be documentary series yet?
Not yet.
or the Get Back.
Yeah.
Sorry. Are you a Beatles fan? Of course.
Yeah. I mean,
Okay.
it's just kind of resting in my conscious where I can be totally focused and just dive into it because
It's a lot. Every episode is like 2.5 hours, and there's 3 episodes, so it's a lot. But man, as a fellow musician, it is like you showed up at practice with the Beatles, and Paul McCartney is fucking around and just writes "Get Back." I mean, he just starts going doom, 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 and he's like, and he starts muttering like da da ba da ba ba. It's fucking insane. And they do that with Ringo brings in Octopus's Garden. He has 2 verses and that's it. You know, just shit like that. And them just kind of like there's uncomfortable moments. You're like, ooh, I shouldn't be here. I shouldn't be watching that.
Right.
You know how you have your guys will get into some shit.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You kind of put the drumsticks down and you're like, I'm gonna go
outside.
Yeah, I'm gonna go take a piss right now. It's that, but you can't go take a piss. You know what I mean?
Wow.
It is fucking I can't stop talking about it, and I would turn this entire podcast into it. The reason I ask is, you know, I've run into people that aren't Beatles fans, and I don't know how that's possible if you do what we do. I don't know how you can't be a Beatle. Anyway, teach their own. But please watch it. Please, you got to. It's amazing. I'm playing
a show this weekend, and I'm getting home early Sunday, and I'm planning on watching it Sunday afternoon.
Well, it's easy for the childless fucking, a caveman to say, yeah, watch something that's 9 hours long, you know, whatever. I get that. But yeah, it's an investment and an endeavor, but it's rewarding to say the least.
I'm going to give it a whirl with my 7-year-old. I'm sure he'll
You should.
last.
You should.
He'll probably be into it. It is. I did watch a little clip, and as you are saying, it's the way it's shot. It's magnificent. It's like
Fly on
you
the
were
wall.
so close to them.
And you realize, like, this footage has just been sitting somewhere. Yeah. That's what's crazy about it. They're writing the most iconic songs of our generation. They're writing them. You see the seed in his head, and it just comes out. And that footage has just been sitting there for... I mean, what if we had the footage of Beethoven writing his most storied work or whatever, you know what I mean? And that's what's amazing about it. And you get this... It's like full-body chills and everything. Because you're like, oh, shit, I just watched Let It Be get written or Get Back or, you know, All Things Must Pass. Like, he's just coming... All of them are just coming up with... It's crazy. Yeah, it's crazy.
That's great. It's absolutely nuts.
Yeah.
And I can't wait to watch it.
Yeah, you're going to be stoked. Anyway, okay.
So Fortunate Son, back to that. That is on a new EP, expanded play.
Yeah, so during COVID, we tested and masked up and did the whole thing and went out and actually got together and just recorded some new songs and some old songs, and we shot some content. We just did it all in one fell swoop because, you know, we didn't want to be risking ourselves and everybody else to try to get together. And so we did that, and we were like, we were in the room together, and you know how you are when you're in a room, and you're just like, let's see if we remember Fortunate Son, because it's one of the covers we know how to play. And that just came out. And I'm really glad we did it.
Is it live?
Yeah.
Yeah. Is the whole EP live?
It is. It is.
Okay.
It's just awesome. Like, it's like a makeshift, like a photo studio. It wasn't even a studio. It wasn't even a studio space. It was like not the most optimum. True Rise Against Fashion. It was like wasn't the most optimum recording space. It wasn't even like soundproofing anywhere. Our band's pretty ramshackle sometimes. We're just like, fuck it, you know. And I guess the true punk rock spirit. We didn't have like a, not that you need one, but it's pretty privileged guy thing to say, but like we didn't have a guitar tech. We're just using pedal tuners, and then we record this thing that goes out for posterity. Well,
the spirit is definitely captured in the record. I think it sounds great.
Thank you so much.
And it's lively. It's not just live sounding.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah, it sounds like, fuck, there's probably no way to make it not sound like 4 guys who are so happy to be in a room together.
Yeah.
And, because at that point, it was like, you didn't think you were going to do it again. You didn't know it. Well, I was trying to be positive. I didn't know when we were going to do it again,
Yeah.
So.
Have you been listening to any new tunes lately? Anything you can't stop listening to?
I've been on a fucking Beatles kick, that's for sure.
Yeah.
Man, that new Turnstile record's so good. I don't know if you've heard that yet. younger band, kind of, I want to say hardcore, but not, I mean, definitely rooted in hardcore, definitely influenced by all the great bands. There's a band called Fake Names. It's my friend Brian Baker from Minor Threat and from Bad Religion. He has a band with Dennis Lixon from Refused.
Oh,
Fake,
really?
Yeah, called Fake Names, and it's they just put out an EP, and it's really good. But let's see what I've saved lately. I saved an Aldo Nova song.
Oh, which one?
Oh, Fantasy.
Yeah, life is just a fantasy. That's
I mean, why not?
song.
You know, I got on a YouTube kick. Oh, the new Quicksand is great. Walter
Oh,
Streifels.
right.
In my personal opinion, I think Walter Streifels is the Paul McCartney of hardcore music, and it's just great. The new Dark Throne, black metal.
Yeah.
I'm sort of a metalhead. I'll freely admit, and you know, I was in GWAR for a stint. I did play in GWAR. So.
Did you guys ever refer to each other as warriors?
Oh yeah. I mean, I'm on a few GWAR records. I was in GWAR from '98 till 2002. So, and then I went back and wrote and recorded a record. They did. The guitar player that I had replaced died. And so I was in Rise Against, and they were auditioning guitar players, and so they wanted to keep going. And since I had been like a writer during my stint with them, I went back and wrote and recorded half of a record, and then they got a guy. And then their singer, Dave Brocky, he died while they were touring that record, which is awful, but I got to play with him on his last record. So, yeah, it's a weird...
Wow.
I have a weird career.
Yeah. I mean, whoever can say they've been in GWAR, that's a unique experience.
I mean, there's so many times I'm like, yeah, I'm in Rise Against. People are like, oh, They go, well, I was in GWAR too. And like, holy shit, you were in GWAR, you know? So it's like a party trick or something, you know?
Yeah. Well, I'm going to let you go, but I got one more question for you.
Yeah, what you got?
What are you looking forward to in the next year?
I'm really looking forward to doing this, to still doing this. I still love this so much. I'm still so happy that I get to do this. I don't take it for granted at all. I still, you know, when I'm home, I play with the band at home, and I still lug my own gear and go and play to 10 people, you know. I don't just do it because it's my career and I play big shows and whatever. I do it because I have to, and that this pandemic taught me that, you know. I knew but it definitely put a tip to the spear, you know, like, wow, this is who you are. This is what you do. My body just does it, you know, without even my mind being involved. I'm looking forward. I'm looking at a busy year next year, and I can't say how sort of overwhelmingly rewarding that feels, you know. Having it taken away, I think definitely it was. I hate to put a positive spin on anything because so many people had such awful, as a society, we had an awful bout with it. But if anything, it definitely made me appreciate the things that maybe I was taking for granted to a certain extent. Yeah. Wait, I didn't even tell a tour story. I can tell you a very quick one.
Yeah, I'd love one.
And since we're at the end, I'll just give you the cliff notes. At one point, Dave Brocky in GWAR, he imitated the Arnold Schwarzenegger as the Terminator for 6 weeks straight, and he didn't break character. And he wore a leather jacket and leather pants and like biker boots and sunglasses, and he cut his hair in a flat top. And he would break character to be Oderus Urungus on stage, but as soon as that mask came off, he was the Terminator again. To the point of where I wanted to catch him, and I threw his bunk curtain back, and he was in his bunk with the sunglasses on, laying completely flat, and his head just kind of like turned to me like a robot, and then way. And then I just shut the curtain. Yeah, I mean, drugs, incredible. You know, drugs, but there was that. Yeah.
God, that gives me a lot to think about.
Yeah, I mean, it did to me too, because I was in my 20s at that point. It blew my fucking mind. Like, what the fuck am I doing with my life? You know, yeah.
Well, thanks for that. That's a nice bonus story.
You betcha, buddy. You betcha.
Well, if you live near Tim Kerr, you see him.
I love Tim Kerr, and I have a large collection of Tim's art in my house.
I do too.
It's the best.
And I have a large collection of his guitar playing in my head.
Yeah, as we all do. He's what a fucking amazing person that guy is. Yes. And just what a like sage and a prophet and you know, and wise, and I just love that guy so much. And he's He gives you hugs. You know.
I know.
Yeah, I love him. I know, man. I need to go see him and Beth. I haven't seen them in a while. I need to go over there. But I will tell him you said hi.
Please do.
Yeah.
All right, man. Thanks again. Good to talk to you.
Thank you so much for having me, Joe. I'm so flattered that you asked, and fan of this podcast. And yeah, it's great.
Thanks. Travel safe.
Thanks.
Bye.
We are the nowhere generation. We are the kids that no one wants. We are a credible threat to the rules you set, a cause to be alarmed. We are not the names that we've been given. We speak a language you don't know. We are the nowhere generation. A nowhere generation. Oh, oh. One day, all the walls will come down, all the doors will open, all the roads will lead home. But right now, we are spiraling down, and the longer we wait, the further we go. And all is slipping through the cracks now, no place left I am at now to go home. We are the nowhere generation. We are the kids that no one wants. We are a credible threat to the rules you set, cause to be alarmed. We are not the names that we've been given. We speak a language you don't know. We are the nowhere generation. Nowhere generation. Oh, oh. For your sweat, you'll be rewarded. It's told us every day. There's a land of milk and honey. It's not that far away. But the finish line kept moving, and the promises were thin. The smoke on the horizon is the burning promised land. And this place used to be somewhere, but they saw it out from under us. The voices all ignored. We are the nowhere generation. We are the kids that no one wants. We are a credible threat to the rules you set, a cause to be alarmed. We are not the names that we've been given. We speak a language you don't know. We are the nowhere generation. The nowhere generation. Oh, oh. Yeah, we climb these burning ladders to erase the number hammers swinging low. What exactly are to they will ask? We will answer. We are the nowhere generation. We are the kids that no one wants. We are a credible threat to the rules you set, a cause to be alarmed. We are not the names that we